Welcome. Let's get ready for the week ahead, March 5th through March 9th. Well, Trump wants to raise tariffs 25% on steel, 10% on aluminum. Stern comments from other countries as the backlash starts to heat up. Jerome Powell, the Fed chair, was more hawkish than anticipated on Tuesday with the first meeting with Congress. But then Thursday at the Senate, Powell says no evidence of wages or economy overheating. Friday, the market nervousness continued, but the market did rebound in this roller coaster ride on Friday. The Nasdaq ended up 77 points, but the Dow ended down 70. We had been down 390 points. What held the Dow back from going positive was McDonald's was down, and they had mentioned that their sales had declined. So McDonald's took a big hit on Friday. The nervousness in the market subdued as the rebound Friday helped bulls recover some of those losses that they were seeing. So it made it going into the weekend a little bit easier as we got a bounce on Friday. Tariffs can and will raise products and prices on products. So will that put mounting pressure on the Fed to raise rates more quickly to slow inflation? So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the markets before we get into what's coming up for the week ahead. We'll take a look at the SPY here. As you see, we held this 264. 94 level, we'll call it 265 on Friday, and we got a nice recovery bounce here. Not enough to get us back over the 50 SMA, which is the blue line here. The current 50 SMA on the SPY daily chart is 273.08. We are currently below the 10 SMA and the 5 EMA on the daily chart. Also, if you look, this pink line here at 269.78, so we'll call it 270 to round it off. We had a high here of 286.63 at the peak, all right, and we dropped down to the 200 SMA here when this sell-off first started, down to 252.92. If you add those two together, you get a midpoint of about 270, 269.78 to be exact for the SPY. So we came right up to that number on Friday. The high for Friday was 269.72. So we just came up to that midpoint from this high to this low, and the pink line you see here is the midpoint. So we'll be watching to see if we can get up over that area of resistance right now and also back over the 50 SMA. And Monday we'll be looking to see if we can hold this 265 area, or are we going to break down and make new lows in the SPY. Let's go ahead and look at some other markets that came up for the week, and we'll take a look at the Qs, which were definitely stronger. The Nasdaq bounced back over the 50 SMA. Although we did have selling during the week, we did get back over the 50 SMA. We're just under the 10 SMA for the QQQ, which is at 166.44. Let's go ahead and look at these on a weekly chart. If we look at the Qs on a weekly, we are holding above the 10 SMA for the Qs, and if we look at the SPY on the weekly, we're back. Actually, we closed below the 10 SMA on the weekly chart for the SPY. So the Qs definitely stronger than the SPY right now. Let's go ahead and look at some of the small caps. I was saying, that the small caps actually held up better on Friday. Nice rebound here, but I'm seeing a lot of small biotech names getting buying, and it seemed that the smaller stocks were holding up better this week than the larger counterparts. If we go ahead and look at the IWM, we are just trying to get back over this 10 SMA here. We are back over the 5 EMA, but still below the 50 SMA on the daily for the IWM. For the weekly, on the IWM, we're just trying to get up over this 10 SMA here. We still have a lot of work to do as we're just resting on the 20 SMA, the red line you see here. The 10 SMA on the weekly for the IWM is 154.39. We closed at 152.35. So we need another couple of bucks to get back over that 10 SMA for the weekly chart on on the IWM. The IWC, the micro caps, hugging on to the 10 SMA. 10 SMA on the IWC is 97.06, and we're at 96.75. So right in that area. If we look at it on the daily chart, we're trying to get back over the 50 SMA for the micro caps, which is currently at 96.69 for the IWC. Trump made some comments over the weekend, Saturday to be specific. Trump tweet, the United States has an $800 billion yearly trade deficit because of our very stupid trade deals and policies. Our jobs and wealth are being given to other countries that have taken advantage of us for years. They laugh at what fools our leaders have been. No more. And that was a tweet by President Trump. Then after that, on Saturday, he tweeted, if the EU wants to further increase their already massive tariffs and barriers on the U.S. companies doing business, there will simply then we will simply apply a tax on their cars, which freely pour into the U.S. They make it impossible for our cars and more to sell there. Big trade imbalance. So that's a courtesy of the trade exchange. Some tweets out by President Trump over the weekend on Saturday. Trump threatened to slap retaliatory tax on Europe as CNBC picked up on that tweet. European cars as trade war talk heats up. So that's definitely not going to help the markets, with this as the trade war talk heats up. Let's go ahead and look at some other indices. We'll go ahead and take a look at the SMH, which had a very nice bounce and holding up very strong. The SMH, the semiconductors, holding above the 10 SMA here on Friday. You could see we had this topping tail here on the SPY, and then we moved down, but we held above the 50 SMA. And Friday, the semiconductors were very strong with a nice push recovery here in the SMH. Let's go ahead and look at some other things. The dollar came down off of its highs. We were getting over the 50 SMA on the UUP, which is the ETF for the dollar. We poked above the 50 SMA, but then Friday the dollar reversed and moved back down, and that actually helped oil come up off of the lows. So we're holding that $60 a barrel on WTI light sweet crude. And if we look at it on the USO, you see we're holding above that $12 area. We still have to get back above the 10 and the 50 for the USO, which is ETF, which represents light sweet crude oil. So that was oil. Then we have the nat gas, which is actually starting to turn back up a little bit here. We had support down here at around 2150, 2160. It is back above the 10, the 5, getting back above the 20 SMA for the nat gas ETF UNG. Next up, we will take a look at the IBB, which popped nicely, the IBB. And we had a nice recovery right around the 200 SMA on the daily chart. If we go ahead and look at the weekly chart for the IBB, we're trying to get back above the 10 SMA on the IBB. The XBI also is back above the 10 SMA. So biotechs were doing much better on Friday than the overall market, but XBI back over the 10 SMA on the weekly and back over the 10 SMA on the daily chart for the XBI and above the 50 SMA for the XBI. Let's take a look at the oil services sector, the OIH, kind of holding this 23 area here for the OIH on the daily, trying to move back above the 5 EMA, the yellow line you see here, but still unsuccessful, not able to do it. And we do have the other fast moving averages right above it. If we look at it on the weekly chart, like I said, trying to hold. We had a previous low here of 22.95. We had a low 23.22. So we are trying to hold this 23 area if we look at it on the weekly chart. Now we'll have to see what the next candle brings and if we can get back over these fast moving averages for the OIH. Let's take a quick look at some of the metals. Gold trying to recover, getting back above the 50 SMA on the daily chart and back above the 5 EMA on the daily chart you see here, but we still have that 10 SMA up above at 125.90, so 126 area, very important for gold GLD. If we go ahead and look at the weekly chart, we did come down to the 20 SMA on the weekly. We are bouncing off that. We'll have to see if we get some continuation. The high on the week was 126.62, so we'll see if we can get back above that for GLD gold. Let's look at silver, and we had a nice bounce here in silver on the Thursday, the 1st of March, and we got back above the 5 here on Friday, I think it was. Yeah, Friday the 2nd. So nice bounce here and nice continuation candle here as we're getting above the 10 and the 5 EMA, but it's still below the 200 SMA for silver. But, they did hold here around that 15.25. Let's go ahead and look at it on the weekly chart as we're still below the 10 SMA on the weekly chart for silver. So let's go ahead and take a look at our worst stocks for the week. Starting out with General Motors down 9% for the week. TYME was down 37% for the week. CLNS also down 29% for the week. DQ took a hit this week, down 20% on DQ. VTVT was down 22% for the week. ACAD took a hit, down 25% for the week. PTLA down 25% for the week. LB, L Brands down 11% after their earnings guidance warning there. SRRA down 23% for the week. WTW also down after their earnings, was strong after earnings, but then profit takers came in on Weight Watchers, down 15% for the week. ELF, which is eyes, lips, and face, beauty company, down 15% for the week. VRX also taking a hit this week, down 20%. Monster, MNST, down 18% for the week. Foot Locker down 17% for the week. RDUS got hit 18% for the week. BOX, after their earnings came out, down 19% for the week. Wage taking a hit, down 16% for the week. LOW, after their earnings release, Lowe's down 12% for the week. McDonald's on their sales decline, down 9% for the week. USCR had earnings, and that stock moved down 9% for the week. On the tariff talk, BWA got moved down 8% for the week. Caterpillar down 10% for the week. DE also down 8% for the week. CMI, Cummins Engines down 6% for the week as the tariff talk heated up in Washington, and which means higher costs to those companies that I just went through. Some of the home builders down this week. Toll Brothers down 6%. LEN also down about 3% for the week. KBH, most of the home builders down 6% for the week. DHI down about 5% for the week. PHM, Pulte Homes, down about 1%. And then lastly, Beazer Homes was down about 5% for the week. Lastly, Walmart down further this week, down almost 5% for the week on Walmart. So that is your worst stocks for the week. Some of your best stocks for the week this week was ZSAN, ZSAN, big pops this week, up 71%. NIHD also climbed 24%. ECYT up 67% for the week. LPCN up 37% for the week. VRTV had a nice week, up 40% for the week on VRTV. ENPH also climbing this week. That's a solar stock. That is up 39% for the week on ENPH. RMGN, a nice pop there, up 38% for the week. MYO had a nice week, up 25%. DRRX up 28% for the week. AAXN, which used to be the old Taser. This used to be Taser, up 36% for the week on AAXN. TTOO, big pop this week, up 41%. MGNX, nice gains this week, up 23%. FATE also climbing this week on 13% for that one. UBNT. This is the one that Citron is short or came out short against, I believe. And but this stock moved up 18% this week on UBNT. Macy's had a good week, up 14% for the week. Dillard's had a nice week, climbing 23% for the week. Etsy. Etsy also had a very nice week, up 22% after their earnings release. XON, a biotech coming up off the bottom here, up 21% for the week. VEEV had a nice climb, up 20% for the week. Triple D had a nice gainer for 13% this week for best stocks for the week. Herbalife, as Ackman covered all shorts on HLF and threw in the towel finally on Herbalife, and that stock moved up 11% this week on HLF. CNX up 12% for the week. And lastly, HPQ, Hewlett Packard, climbing 7%. And that's some of your best stocks for the. All right, so let's take a look at what companies are reporting earnings for the week ahead on Monday. No major names on Monday, but the earnings week is pretty strong this week. We do have some big names coming out. We have a Target before the open on Tuesday. We have Cars.com, KLX on Tuesday after the bell. We have Ross Stores, and we have H&R Block here on Wednesday after the bell. Costco. Wednesday before the bell. Dollar Tree. Plug Power, PLUG symbol there before the bell on Wednesday. We have ZAG coming out, OKTA on Wednesday after the bell. Before the open on Thursday, we have Tech Data, we have Burlington, and then we also have after the close, we have Polo Loco, LOCO symbol there. And then Friday, we have Revlon, Big Lots, Spark Energy, to name a few. So there's your earnings season as it continues. You know, the big names here, though, Thor and Costco, Target, Ross Stores will be watched. Guidewire, I guess, for communications. So some good, strong, important Kroger, KR symbol here before the open on Thursday. American Eagle Outfitters reporting AEO symbol there for American Eagle Outfitters, and that will be Thursday before the bell. Let's go ahead and take a look from courtesy of the Trade Exchange. We will look and see what we have coming up economically for the week ahead. The Fed Speak will be rolling out on Monday. We have Fed Speak at 1:15 p.m. on Monday. We have this PMI Services Index, 10 o'clock, non-manufacturing index. That's for Monday. Tuesday, we have William Dudley, Fed Speak, Lyle Brannard. We also have Robert Kaplan for Fed Speak. We have the API crude oil data coming out on Tuesday. Wednesday, we have more Fed Speak, William Dudley twice on Wednesday the 7th. Let's see, we have the MBA mortgage applications. Those are being closely watched now, as you can see with the home builders. And later in the week, let's see, no Fed Speak on Thursday the 8th. We do have Oil numbers coming out, sorry, on Wednesday the 7th. The EIA petroleum numbers come out 10:30. The nat gas numbers come out at 11 o'clock. I'm sorry, 10:30 on Thursday the 8th, the nat gas report. And then that all leads up into the employment situation at 8:30, the non-farm payrolls, the employment situation, wages and hourly growth will be closely watched here to see if there's any signs of inflation in this employment situation report. And then we have Fed speak Charles Evans speaking at 12:45 p.m. on Friday. So that's your macro information coming out for the week ahead. We'll go ahead and take a look at some of the top gainers from Friday. We had ZSAN, VEC, VEC, SWN, JOBS, LLNW, GPS, INSY, BLMN. Your worst stocks for Friday were WSR, ZEUS, Zeus. They had earnings. GM on the tariff talk, going to make cars, the cost of cars maybe go up. BP, BRGI, MT, and HSBC. Let's take a quick look at the Fear and Greed Index courtesy of CNN Money. We were currently, on Friday, we were down at 8. We're currently down at 10 on the Extreme Fear and Greed gauge, this oscillator. So currently at 10 and remaining in the Extreme Fear area for the CNN Money Fear and Greed Index. All right, everybody, that's your let's get ready for the week ahead. And I'll be out with a video stocks to watch video later on the weekend.